You know, last week started like any other Tuesday. Just me, Anya, sipping cold coffee, trying to motivate myself for another job application, when a weird letter landed on my mat. It wasn't just any letter, it was from Grandma Evelyn's lawyer. My family laughed later, thinking my inheritance was a joke, a useless mission, but delivering those 5 letters? It totally changed my life. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I'd love to know. My apartment was a mess, always was, kinda like my life felt sometimes. Empty coffee cups, crumpled job listings, a general cloud of what now hanging over everything. Grandma Evelyn passed away 6 months ago, and honestly, she was the only one who truly believed in me. Everyone else? Well, they had their opinions, mostly quiet sighs and worried glances, but my Uncle Roy and Aunt Phyllis? They were louder, usually disguised as helpful advice, but really just thinly veiled criticism. And my cousin Brenda, their daughter, she was the worst, always so put together, so successful, always making little comments about my creative spirit or freewheeling nature, you know? Like I was some kind of delightful but ultimately lost cause. So, when the lawyer's letter came, summoning us all to his office for the will reading, I felt a mix of nerves and a tiny spark of hope. Maybe Grandma, in her infinite wisdom, had left me something practical, something to help me get started. Like a down payment for a tiny house, or maybe a scholarship fund for a useful skill, not pottery. I straightened out my only decent blazer, tried to look composed, and headed downtown. The lawyer's office felt stuffy, like old money and hushed secrets. Mr. Albright, a kind, gray-haired man with spectacles perched on his nose, greeted us. Uncle Roy, Aunt Phyllis, and Brenda were already there, all dressed in expensive clothes, looking expectant. Brenda even had a new designer handbag, I noticed. She gave me a quick, dismissive once-over, then looked back at her phone. My stomach tightened a little. Anya, dear, you made it, Aunt Phyllis said, but it sounded more like, oh, you're here. Mr. Albright cleared his throat. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. As you know, we are here today to read the last will and testament of Evelyn Mae Jenkins. He started with the usual stuff, charitable donations, her beloved garden club, some assets divided between Uncle Roy and his family. I was just sitting there, trying to look interested, even though I knew the bulk of her estate, her big old house, her investments would go to them. They were her direct line, her responsible ones. That's what they always said. Then Mr. Albright paused, pushing his spectacles up. Now, for Anya, he began, and my ears perked up, my heart gave a little flutter. Here it came. Evelyn, with her characteristic wit and profound affection, has left you a most unique inheritance, Anya. My family exchanged glances. Brenda even let out a small, quiet snicker. Oh, God, she whispered to her mom. Here we go. Mr. Albright continued, ignoring them. She has bequeathed you a mission, Anya. A mission she believed only you, with your open heart and adventurous spirit, could complete. He pulled out a small, worn wooden box from a drawer. Inside this box, Anya, are 5 sealed envelopes. Each contains a letter, personally written by your grandmother. Your inheritance, in its entirety, hinges upon you personally delivering each of these 5 letters to their designated recipients. He handed the box to me. I stared at the box. 5 letters? That was it? My inheritance? I felt a blush creep up my neck. I could feel my uncle's eyes on me, then Brenda's. A mission. Uncle Roy finally blurted, his voice laced with disbelief. Evelyn, bless her, always was a bit eccentric, but this is ridiculous, Mr. Albright. Aunt Phyllis leaned forward, a tight smile on her face. So, Anya gets a box of letters? And that's all, she asked, her tone sweet but dripping with condescension. Mr. Albright, ever composed, replied, indeed. Evelyn's instructions were very clear. Upon the successful and documented delivery of all 5 letters, Anya will receive the remainder of Evelyn's previously unallocated liquid assets. And what exactly are those unallocated liquid assets? Brenda asked, still scrolling on her phone, but now her eyes were fixed on Mr. Albright. He gave a small, almost apologetic smile. Roughly $2 million. Silence. Complete, total silence. For about 5 seconds. Then Brenda let out a loud, incredulous laugh. $2 million? For delivering some old letters? That's insane. She's never even held down a proper job. She'll lose them, or get distracted, or forget halfway through. Her voice was sharp, a high-pitched mockery that hurt. Uncle Roy joined in, a booming guffaw, wiping tears from his eyes. Oh, Evelyn, you old prankster. This is your idea of a joke on us, isn't it? Leaving it to Anya, knowing full well it'll never happen. Aunt Phyllis just shook her head, a patronizing smirk on her face. Anya, dear, perhaps you should just give the box to your uncle. He can ensure the letters are delivered safely. We wouldn't want you to feel overwhelmed. My face burned. I could feel tears stinging my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not here, not now. Not in front of them. They were laughing at me, openly, cruelly, dismissing me as completely hopeless. Again. But something shifted inside me. A sudden, fierce wave of defiance. Grandma believed in me. She always believed in me. This wasn't a joke. This was her last act of love, a test perhaps, but also a gift. And I would prove them all wrong. I clutched the wooden box. It felt warm in my hands. No, I said, my voice shaky but firm. Everyone stopped laughing, looking at me surprised. No, I'll do it. Grandma asked me to. I looked at each of them, meeting their gaze. And I will. They just stared. Their laughter gone, replaced by a mixture of shock and annoyance. Brenda rolled her eyes. Yeah, right, Anya. Good luck with that. I stood up, the wooden box tucked under my arm, its weight comforting. I knew then, looking at their suddenly sour faces, that this wasn't just about money. It was about Grandma Evelyn. It was about proving myself, not to them, but to her. And to me. This mission was already more than just delivering letters. It was a challenge. And I was going to accept it. The first thing I did after leaving Mr. Albright's office was to find a quiet coffee shop, away from the glares and snickers of my family. My hands trembled as I carefully opened the old wooden box. Inside, 5 beautifully aged envelopes, each sealed with a wax stamp featuring Grandma Evelyn's initial, an elegant E. The scent of her favorite lavender sachets, which she always kept in her drawers, wafted up from the box. It felt like a warm hug from her, you know? Like she was right there with me. The first letter was addressed to Mr. Arthur Henderson, 14, Maple Lane. Maple Lane. That was the street just 2 blocks from Grandma's old house. Mr. Henderson was her neighbor for decades, a quiet, gentle man with a booming laugh and the best backyard tomatoes I'd ever tasted. I remembered him vividly. He'd always say, Anya, my dear, never be afraid to get your hands dirty. I drove straight there. His house looked the same, a little worn but cozy. I rang the doorbell, my heart doing a funny little flip-flop. What would Grandma have written? What was this all about? Mr. Henderson, a bit older now, with more lines around his kind eyes, opened the door. He recognized me instantly. Anya. My goodness, look at you. Come in, child, come in. We sat in his sunroom, surrounded by thriving plants. He offered me iced tea, just like Grandma used to. I explained my mission, showing him the sealed letter. He chuckled, a deep rumble. Evelyn, always a character. Let's see what mischief she's cooked up this time. He carefully broke the wax seal. As he read, his expression softened, a wistful smile playing on his lips, then a tear traced a path down his cheek. Oh, Evelyn, he whispered, you always knew. He looked up at me, his eyes shining. Anya, your grandmother was a remarkable woman. This letter, it's a thank you for a secret kindness from years ago, something I never thought she even noticed. He reached for an old tin on the side table. She always told me, Arthur, share your bounty. She's left me a small gift in this letter, a piece of advice, and she said to pass on a token of appreciation to you from her. He handed me a small, beautifully carved wooden bird, perfectly smooth. She said this little bird represents freedom, Anya. May you always fly freely. He added, and a $20 bill. She said, for a good cup of coffee on your journey, my dear. Evelyn always thought of everything. I felt a warmth spread through me. This wasn't just about delivering letters, it was about connecting with Grandma through these people. The second letter was for Ms. Beatrice Delgado, retired, now living at the Willow Creek Retirement Home. Ms. Delgado, my third-grade teacher, a tiny woman with a stern voice, but eyes that sparkled when you finally understood a difficult math problem. I remember her telling me, Anya, never let anyone tell you your imagination isn't a superpower. Willow Creek was bright and cheerful. Ms. Delgado was in the common room, doing a crossword puzzle. She remembered me too, instantly. Anya Jenkins. You haven't changed a bit. Still have that mischievous sparkle in your eyes, I see. She took the letter, her hands a little shaky with age. She read it slowly, her lips moving silently. Then she laughed, a bright, tinkling sound. Oh, Evelyn. She never forgot, did she? This is about a silly little prank we pulled on the principal back when we were teenagers. She reminded me to live with joy. She looked at me, a serious look on her face. Anya, your grandmother has left me a beautiful sentiment in this letter. A reminder to cherish memories, and for you, she's left a tool for discovery. She handed me a small, exquisitely bound journal, its pages blank, waiting. She said, write your own story, Anya. It's the most important one. She also tucked a crisp $50 bill into the journal. Evelyn said, for a nice meal, my dear. You'll need your strength for all the amazing things you'll discover. As I left Willow Creek, journal in hand, I felt a shift. This wasn't just a chore, it was an adventure. Each delivery wasn't just a drop-off, it was a reunion, a sharing of Grandma Evelyn's spirit, and a little piece of her wisdom passed on to me, along with these small, meaningful gifts. My family's laughter felt miles away now. I was on my own path, guided by Grandma's loving whispers, and it felt empowering. This mission was becoming less about a $2 million inheritance and more about understanding the incredible woman my grandmother truly was, and discovering a bit of myself along the way. With 2 letters delivered, a carved wooden bird, a beautiful journal, and some walking around money, I felt a spring in my step. The third letter was addressed to Dr. Julian Vance, Applied Sciences Institute, City Center. Dr. Vance? This one threw me for a loop. Grandma Evelyn, retired librarian who loved gardening and cozy mysteries, knew a scientist? This was a real wait, what moment for me. The Applied Sciences Institute was a sleek, modern building, all glass and steel, a stark contrast to the homey places I'd visited so far. I felt a bit out of place in my simple clothes, but I pushed through. Dr. Julian Vance turned out to be a brilliant-looking woman in her late 40s with intense, intelligent eyes. She looked surprised to see me, but when I mentioned Grandma Evelyn and the letter, her expression softened. Anya, right? Evelyn spoke of you fondly. We sat in a small meeting room. As she read Grandma's letter, Dr. Vance's face went through a range of emotions: surprise, understanding, a touch of sadness, and finally, a profound gratitude. Evelyn, she funded my very first independent research grant, you know? Years ago. When no one else would take a chance on a young and proven scientist trying to develop sustainable water purification methods. This letter, she said, holding it gently, it's her way of saying she's proud, and it contains an update on how her initial investment has grown into something significant, beyond just money, but truly changing lives. She said for you, Anya, she wanted me to share a seed of potential. Dr. Vance then presented me with a certificate for an exclusive mentorship program at the Institute, tailored for aspiring innovators. Evelyn believed in nurturing potential. She said, Anya has a curious mind, Julian. Help her explore it. This program, she added, is worth a substantial amount, but its true value is immeasurable. My jaw practically hit the floor. This was huge. She also handed me a $50 gift card to a local bookstore. Evelyn insisted, she smiled, said you always needed a good book. Next, Mr. Leo Maxwell, Maxwell Art Gallery, Old Town. An art gallery. Grandma Evelyn was full of surprises. Leo Maxwell was an elderly gentleman with kind eyes and paint stains on his smock. He greeted me like a long-lost friend. Anya, Evelyn's granddaughter. Come, child, she wrote to me about you. He read the letter, his eyes twinkling. Evelyn, he mused, she bought my very first painting. She saw something in my work when no one else did. This letter is her final critique, a beautiful message urging me to keep creating, and a reminder to you, Anya, to see the beauty in everything and to create your own. He pulled a small, framed watercolor from behind a counter. This is one of Evelyn's own, a landscape she painted. It's a simple piece, but it was the first painting she ever showed anyone, and she wanted you to have it. She called it New Beginnings. It's priceless, Anya, because it represents the courage to start. He then slipped a $100 bill into my hand. For art supplies, she said. Don't stop creating, Anya. The final letter. Ms. Eliza Hayes, Paws and Whiskers Animal Shelter, outskirts of town. I knew this place. Grandma used to volunteer there sometimes. Eliza Hayes, a woman with warm, tired eyes and fur on her sweater, welcomed me with a hug. She read the letter, and tears welled up in her eyes. Evelyn, she choked out, she saved the shelter, Anya. Years ago, we were about to close, and she anonymously donated a huge sum. This letter, it's her revealing that she was our benefactor, and it's a final plea for us to keep fighting for these animals. She also stipulated in the letter that she left a paw print of love for you. Eliza then handed me a small, beautifully crafted silver locket shaped like a paw, with a tiny engraving on the back, Evelyn. She also left this, Eliza said, her voice trembling, a check for $10,000 specifically for you, to donate to a cause you truly believe in. Find your passion, Anya, she wrote, and make a difference. I held the locket, the $10,000 check in my hand. I had 5 letters delivered. I had the wooden bird, the journal, the mentorship certificate, Grandma's watercolor, the locket, and $10,170 cash and gift cards. This was incredible. I realized the true value wasn't the material things, but the stories, the connections, the belief my grandma had instilled in others, and now in me. Each person had been touched by Evelyn's quiet generosity, her belief in them, and, through these letters, she was passing that legacy, that spirit, onto me. The mission was complete. 2 days later, the family gathered at Mr. Albright's office again. They were smug, confident. So, Anya, done playing postman? Brenda sneered. She probably lost the box, Uncle Roy chuckled. I just smiled. Actually, I delivered all 5 letters. I told them about each person, each gift, each story. I showed them the items, the bird, the journal, the mentorship certificate, which Dr. Vance had helped me register for, the watercolor, the locket, and yes, the check for $10,170. And this $10,000, I added, I'm donating it to Paws and Whiskers, just like Grandma would have wanted. Their faces. Oh, their faces. Brenda's jaw dropped. Uncle Roy's eyes bulged. Aunt Phyllis went completely pale. They had expected me to fail, to return hopeless, with nothing but silly stories. Instead, I stood there, transformed. Mr. Albright just beamed. Excellent, Anya. Truly excellent. Evelyn would be so proud. He then handed me the final, larger check. As per your grandmother's will, the remainder of her liquid assets, $2 million. The check shimmered in my hand. Brenda gasped. Uncle Roy literally staggered back, bumping into the wall. They looked at me, no longer with disdain, but with shock, awe, and a hint of fear. My family, who had laughed at me, stood frozen, their mouths agape, their minds struggling to comprehend that I had actually done it. I had succeeded. That evening, I didn't go back to my messy apartment. Instead, I sat at a clean desk in a quiet co-working space, my new journal open. The mentorship program with Dr. Vance was starting soon. I had a clear vision, a purpose. Grandma Evelyn didn't just leave me money, she left me a map to myself, a mission that forced me to connect, to grow, to understand my own potential. She knew I wasn't hopeless. She knew I just needed a push, a journey to find my path. And it wasn't revenge I felt, but a profound sense of peace and gratitude. This wasn't just about $2 million. It was about the priceless gift of knowing who I am and what I'm capable of. Grandma's quiet, powerful wisdom still guided me, and now it was my turn to start writing my own amazing story. Her letters had changed my life, showing me that true wealth isn't just what you inherit, but what you discover within yourself and what you choose to make of it. She truly was the best grandma. What a woman, right? I miss her every day, but I carry her spirit with me now always. If you've ever felt like no one believed in you, I hope my story gives you a little push. Remember, sometimes the greatest gifts come in the most unexpected packages, and your journey, no matter how humble it seems, can lead to the most extraordinary places.